let's also talk about the Spitfire users, right? Why not? Now, good players also tend to use the Spitfire as well, but when I say the Spitfire users, I mean the people who actually only use this gun but still end up looking like this. Alright guys, so I already know that this video is gonna piss some people off, which is kind of sad because the point of this video isn't to piss off anyone. The only reason I'm even making this video right now is because I made a similar video like 2 months ago and I talked about some signs of a bad player in Apex. Now you guys actually managed to get that video to 100k, which was kind of unexpected by me. So I said, you know, why not? Let's do a part 2, but let's make it more interesting. We're gonna be taking a look at some things bot players do in Apex Legends, and in my opinion guys, a bot is very different from a bad player, because a bad player could still be a good player, like in terms of skill. They just play for themselves and they play very weird, but a bot is completely just, you know, a not so good trash player in Apex. So it's a big difference. And let me just say this real quick as well, I'm not saying I'm the best player in this game, because I'm not. I'm like average at best. I have a 2.5 KD, it's not the best KD, but I definitely would not say I'm a bot. Maybe sometimes, but not all the time. So please guys, don't take this video too seriously, don't get offended. The purpose of this video isn't to offend anyone, it's just a very fun and light-hearted video guys. So I mean, if you take offense to this video even after what I just said, I'm not sure what to say. Most likely you are a bot. So yeah, without further ado guys, let's take a look at some things that bots do in Apex Legends. Before we move on though, let me plug my Twitch real quick. I'm gonna be streaming on Twitch very soon guys, on PC, on mouse and keyboard. I'm making a very big switch from controller to mouse and keyboard, so click the very first link down below. Come follow your boy on Twitch, I'd appreciate that so much. Join my Discord server as well, and also hit the like button right now on the video for good luck in your next Apex pack. Alright, so first things first, Fuse means. If you main Fuse in Apex in season 9, then I'm not sure what to say. Fuse is not a good legend guys. I'm not gonna even try to defend that point. Fuse right now is kind of trash. I mean, every single time I actually see a Fuse player in this game, they always seem to be not so good. I feel like bots kind of just all flock to Fuse for some reason. I'm not sure why. Now before all of the Apex police come at me guys, of course, every single legend in Apex could be good. Every single legend, you know, if you know how to play them, can be very effective. But if we're being real, Fuse is just trash. Like, who really sits down and thinks, you know what, I want to use Fuse today because Fuse is so good and Fuse is so fun? Honestly, it doesn't make sense to me. Fuse is very underpowered, very underrated. And if you main Fuse, I'm not saying you're trash. I'm saying that you have a very high potential of being trash. Let's also talk about the Spitfire users, right? Why not? Now, good players also tend to use the Spitfire as well, but when I say the Spitfire users, I mean people who actually only use this gun but still end up looking like this. The Spitfire to me is one of those guns that you just can't really have a bad game with because it's so effective. I mean, all pro players know this, all really good content creators know this guys, and all good players should know this as well. The Spitty right now is just insane and it's really easy to use. So it's understandable why everyone would want to use it. But if you're someone who only uses this gun, you won't even get into a fight unless you find the Spitfire, but you still end up losing all of your gunfights. You still end up, you know, just completely spraying and praying even when somebody isn't even peeking you. Like, let's say someone peeks you for like 1 second, and even after they move and they stop peeking you, you're still there just completely spraying and praying, busting shots after this random enemy. That kind of Spitfire player right there is not good, and most likely is, you know, sorry to say, but most likely it's a bot. No offense though. Someone who loots every single POI, every single bin, every single care package, no matter, you know, what loot they already have, they still want to loot. They never want to stop looting guys. You can tell a lot about someone's skill level in this game by how long they take to loot and, you know, what they actually loot for. There are some players in this game who like to land very safe and loot for like 5 minutes, right? Then they still want to go to another POI that's still safe, loot there as well. Then they'll call down their Lifeline care package, loot some more. Then they'll go to like a random care package, a random world drop, loot some more. Then they'll segue into another random POI, loot some more. At this point, there's 5 squads left in the game. Then these players might find some random death boxes on the floor and they'll loot some more again. They all have 0 damage and no kills, but they all have the best loot in the game, because loot is definitely more important than kills and damage, right? Of course it is. Now there's 3 squads left in the match and they finally get into a gunfight. And guess what? They die. So you just spend 15 minutes of your time looting every single POI, trying to get the best loot just to do 5 damage and die. Make it make sense. And this segues perfectly into my next point. So listen, someone who's always asking for the most unimportant, minor attachments before they push a gunfight. So let's say they have a blue barrel, right? Let's say they have a blue barrel on an R99. Unless they find a purple barrel, they're not gonna push any gunfights, because the difference between a blue barrel and a purple barrel in Apex is gonna determine if they win or lose that gunfight, which honestly absolutely makes no sense. If you're someone who always needs this specific attachment before you push into a fight, instead of attempting to even jump into a gunfight, then you're most likely, not very confident. So yeah. Someone who pings absolutely every single thing on the map. Someone who goes into the inventory to heal instead of simply using the scroll wheel. Anyone who leaves the high ground to try and fight a team. So let's say it's the very last ring and you and your teammates have the height advantage, but because you do like 25 damage on the enemy, you want to jump down and try to challenge them. Now because you jump down and because your momentum is stopped when you obviously fall down, the enemy beams you, you lose the gunfight, and you blame your teammates for being trash. In reality, every single one of you guys most likely was trash, because there's no real reason to leave high ground in Apex. Like, don't do it. Don't do it. Unless you have to, and unless the ring is actually closing in on you, there's absolutely no need to ever even consider leaving the high ground in this game. Trust me. Lifelines that don't understand how to res, when to res, why they should res, they just res because they could res. Let me actually explain that real quick. There's some, very interesting Lifeline players out there who, whenever their teammates get into a gunfight, right, and their teammates, get downed, they're not sure if they should res or if they should actually fight the enemy. So there's many situations where, let's say, teammates get enemies one shot and the teammate who was downed is like a good distance away from Lifeline. Instead of simply just, shooting the enemy like once or twice and killing the enemy, this very interesting Lifeline player would much rather run across in the open to res their teammate and risk getting beamed all for a res, instead of simply, just finishing off the gunfight by themselves. The reason I'm saying this is because I see this happening so many times in pubs, where Lifelines think that because they actually have a very good res, all they must do is res. And it's not true. Of course, Lifelines need to res their teammates when they can, but let's say an enemy is one shot, guys. Would you prefer to run across in the open and risk dying yourself, or simply just finishing off what your teammates started? Sometimes resing your teammates first isn't always the best option, and some Lifelines need to learn that. For sure. Anyone who says the R99 sucks. Anyone who says the flatline sucks. Anyone who says the Volt sucks. Now, it's one thing if you can't use any of those weapons as good as you would like to, but if you just straight up call them trash because you can't use them, then yeah, that's peak butt behavior right there. Winning a game with less than 1000 damage. Now let me actually clear this up real quick. If you've been in at least 5 different gunfights throughout an entire match, at least 5 different gunfights, 5 different engagements, and you win a game and you still have less than 1000 damage, then that's actually a very, very good sign of someone's skill level in this game. Now, if you've been in 2 gunfights and the lobby was just kind of weird, they died off very quickly and the game was slow, then it's fine to have less than 1k damage, right? It's fine. Again, a perfect segue into my next point. Someone who's only concerned with winning the game. Now, what do I mean by this? But I mean someone who only rotates when they have to, someone who comes in every single room, every single house, every single building they could find. They only have a white shield for the whole match because they do absolutely no damage, and when the last 2 squads are left, they randomly show up and attempt to win the gunfight, and they don't. They actually still lose. But that kind of player, guys, is a bot for sure. Anyone who doesn't care about kills, doesn't care about damage, they just camp, and all they want to do is win the game at whatever cost. It doesn't matter if they have a white shield for the entirety of the match, and it doesn't matter if they win with 2 damage. Once they win, they're happy. Send this video to someone you know who plays like that. And the very last thing that a bot does in Apex, and in life as well, generally, is someone who watches this video, gets offended, and writes a 15-line paragraph in the comment section down below about how I'm a terrible person for making this video, even though it's just for fun. So guys, in conclusion, it's okay to be a bot. I was once a bot in Apex, I was once a bot in every game I've played, and I was, clowned and unembarrassed until I took it upon myself to improve and become somewhat decent. So we all were once butts, you know. There's no shame in that. So all my butts out there, I still love you. I still appreciate the easy kills. Keep being trash. Just don't do it on my team. So yeah, with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed as always. Drop a like, hit that sub button. Follow me on Twitch. Join my Discord server, all of the above. And I'll see you guys in some more Apex. Till next time.